The world is waiting for someone to bring them hope, direction, possibilities. Hundreds of people die in the streets of impoverished nations every day. But poverty is not just an economic problem. It is a spiritual problem. 2.7 billion people have never heard the gospel message one time. Not once. It is easy for the tremendous need in the world to seem overwhelming. If we are going to see nations impacted, and if we're going to reach the world for Christ, it is absolutely critical that we sharpen our focus in 4 key areas of ministry. The first is children and youth. Believe it or not, there are more than 40 nations with almost half of their populations under 15 years old. If we do not reach the children and the youth for Christ, we will not reach those nations for Christ. So Go To Nations is broadening its ministry to these kids on several fronts, including rescuing children, infants to teens, from human trafficking and other dangerous situations, providing feeding programs, medical clinics, and educational opportunities, and providing evangelism outreaches that are restoring hearts to God and changing young lives. The second area is community development. Through Go To Nations' community development arm, GLODEV, which stands for Global Development, we are addressing the physical and economic needs of the people.
That's the way to catch the fish.
But with Go To Nations, it is not a handout, but rather a hand up. It is a process where people are taught to provide for themselves. This is accomplished through education and agriculture, aquaponics and sustainable development, and by enhancing and cultivating the entrepreneurial spirit in individuals. The third is leadership training. By producing strong Christian leaders through Go To Nations Bible schools, we are seeing the planting of national churches through our graduates increase exponentially in many parts of the world. Go To Nations has 24,000 graduates from which we have planted over 4,500 churches globally. And every one of these churches is self-supporting, self-governing, and self-propagating. The fourth is the multiplication of cross-cultural missionaries. Go To Nations not only trains American missionaries through intensive equipping tracks to serve in other countries, but Go To Nations also raises up missionaries from all over the world to go to unreached areas. We have missionaries from Russia, Latvia, Ecuador, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Thailand, the Philippines, and the list goes on. Even more, we are rapidly becoming one of the leading proponents in empowering national churches to become strong missionary sending churches. For example, in Russia alone, we have trained over 6,000 church leaders. These churches have taken the training they have received from the Global Pathway conferences. They have raised up mission teams and have gone into 39 unreached regions across 8 time zones. In a 4-month period, we saw more than 200 new Russian churches planted, resulting in 127,000 decisions for Christ. Our success in all 4 of these areas has caused Go To Nations to have a significant impact in Russia, Africa, Asia, and Latin America. So, the question is, why Go To Nations? Go To Nations may have started off as an international mission ministry, but it is becoming a catalyst for a global Christian movement, a movement that has left Go-To-Nation's footprints in 93 countries and continues to spread. For every homeless child Go-To-Nations rescues and who receives an education and new hope for a better life. For every husband whose dignity we help restore by showing him a better way to provide for his family. For every person trapped in false religion who finds Christ through a Go-To-Nations outreach. For every new Bible school graduate and every new missionary Go-To-Nations is raising up around the world. For every national Christian leader that Go-To-Nations empowers with the tools to help change their nation into a mighty army for God. For all these people, in all these situations, the opportunities are boundless. Go-To-Nations has impacted over 5 million lives, and now we are strategically positioned at a point where we could impact millions more. There has never been more lives hanging in the balance than there are today. But let's not kid ourselves. It's not going to be easy, and there is a lot more to do. It is going to take greater resources, greater sacrifice, greater commitment than we have ever attempted before. We need ordinary people who are willing to allow God to use them in extraordinary ways, to do what it takes to seize this moment. Will you join us?